Hey Fundraiser, I'm Mary Petersen, and this is Hey Fundraiser, the podcast for development professionals who are done guessing and ready to build a major gift program that actually works. Every week, I bring you the tactics, the language, and the real-world strategy to close bigger gifts, deepen donor relationships, and lead with confidence. Whether you're a one-person shop or a seasoned major gift officer, if you're ready to stop hoping and start engineering, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey Fundraiser. So you know that the ask is the moment that most fundraisers dread. The palms get sweaty, the voice gets shaky. You've cultivated this relationship for months. You believe in the mission. The person sitting across the table believes in the mission. You know this donor cares. And now the moment has arrived. And something inside you is saying, we're just grateful for any support that feels right. You don't want those words to come out of your mouth. So today, I'm giving you the words, literally word for word, not the theory, not the philosophy, the actual sentences, because that's what you came here for. And that's what I'm here to give you. So welcome back to the Hey Fundraiser podcast. Before we dig into all kinds of things fundraising wise, I cannot believe it's true. I have a book coming out, my second book, which I'm super excited about. It's called Small Table, Big Philanthropy, and I will tell more about it toward the end. But today is about asking, the ask, the thing most people in our field are afraid of, and the thing that every single one of us has to do if we're going to actually raise major gifts. The more I think about the ask, and I coach people all day long on who to ask, what to ask for, how to ask. The scary part really isn't the ask. Everybody can say the words. The scary part is handling the objections. Once you have had a no to your face for the first time and you actually lived through it, which fundraiser you will do, everything feels easier. So the fear really isn't about the ask. The fear is getting a no. And when you ask for a gift, you put yourself in a very vulnerable position. So I want to teach you today ways to set yourself up for success from the get-go. And you probably already know this, but I wrote a whole book about asking. It's called What to Say, 12 Major Gift Asks to Get a Yes. And today I'm going to pull from that book and give you what I think is the most important material in it. First is the full anatomy of a major gift ask, from the first word to the last. So let's go. Let's dig into it. So every great major gift ask has 5 elements, not 4, not 6, 5. And when any of these are missing, your ask is weaker. So let's kind of walk through each one. The first one is the setup. This is the conversation that happens before the gift. The context that makes the ask feel earned rather than like sudden or like a curveball. Like your donor should never be surprised that you ask them for a gift. A strong setup reminds the donor of their history with the organization. It acknowledges any existing commitments, and it creates a moment of genuine connection before you even get to the ask. Before I share something with you, I want to say how much your partnership over the last 3 years has meant to us. What you've made possible in the community is real, and I don't take that for granted. Like that setup is warm, it's foundational, and you're just reminding the donor and yourself, frankly, that the ask is happening inside of a relationship. It's not coming out of left field. So the second thing is the actual ask. Specific, direct, respectful. I usually say something like this. John, would you consider a gift of $50,000 to fund the new Family Resource Center? That sentence has 4 things in it. It has, would you consider? It is a question. It has the specific amount, the amount you're asking for a gift. There's no hedging. There's no whatever you feel comfortable with. There's no, we know that's a lot. There's no apologies. It's just the clear ask. The third thing is the silence. This is the element most fundraisers get wrong. So after you make your ask, you really need to stop talking, like full stop talking. And let the silence sit. I mean, even though it's 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it takes. But I would really urge you to not fill that silence. When you feel that silence, you soften the ask and you just add more weight to the silence. The silence is not awkward. The silence is the ask actually doing its work. The donor is processing, they're thinking. And when they're ready to respond, they will. But your job is to let them get there without interruption. I was recently in Philadelphia and I was speaking at the Free Library, and we were kind of talking about the silence. And this is really well put. I mean, the donor can even listen to you talk, or they can sit in silence for a couple moments and make their decision. And so I would rather have them make their decision. Okay. The fourth thing is the donor's response. I mean, whatever they say, your job is to listen, really listen. Not just for the yes or the no, but for what's underneath. I need to think about it might mean I'm interested, but I need more information. That's more than I expected might mean I'm ready to give something, but just not that amount. We'll talk about how to handle specific responses in just a minute. But the fifth element is your response to the donor's response. What you say after the donor speaks is just important as the ask itself. This is where so many gifts are won or lost. And we're going to go through exactly what to say. But these are the 5 elements: the setup, like the permission, the ask, the silence, the donor response, and then the fundraiser's response. Now, I've talked about this a little bit in the podcast before, but here's something that's going to change how you approach every ask. Donors don't all make decisions in the same way. Understanding how your specific donor makes decisions is one of the most powerful tools you have. People who give from their head come from a logical place, right? They like data. They want impact metrics. They want to understand your theory of change. They want to know exactly how their money is going to be used and what outcomes you're measuring. For a donor who gives from their head, your ask needs to be kind of grounded in evidence. So I typically say something like, this $50,000 gift will directly fund 200 families for the next 6 months. Our data shows that families who receive our services are 67% less likely to return to crisis within 2 years. Like, numbers matter to this person, outcomes matter. Now, a donor who gives from their heart tend to be a little bit more emotional. They're moved by stories, by connection, by the human face of your mission. So for a donor who gives from their heart, the setup should really include a story, like a real, specific, personal story that someone can grab onto. I mean, you can start it very lightly, like, Sarah, I wanted to tell you about a family we served last month. Like, your ask lands in the emotional space that story opens up in the donor. And then you follow through with, would you consider making a $50,000 gift so we can do that for 200 more families this year? Now, the third category is donors who give from their gut. And they really come from a place of instinct and trust. They've made a decision about you and about this organization like long before you've even asked. They're not really analyzing the proposal. They're feeling the relationship. I mean, they're thinking, do I trust this person? Do I believe in this mission? Is this the right moment for me? Is this organization's values grounded in the same values that I have? So for a donor who gives from their gut, the ask itself matters less than everything that came before it. If your cultivation efforts were strong and the trust is real, that donor who gives from the gut often says yes before you even finish the sentence. Now, we're not cookie cutter, right? Like, we're human, and most donors are a blend of those three things. But most donors, they do have a primary mode. And your job is to figure out which mode they are so that your ask can land where that person is. Now, here's the number one mistake. And I want to spend real time here, because this mistake is costing our sector millions of dollars every year. And it's so common, so normalized, that most fundraisers don't even know they're doing it. And here's the mistake. We hope you'll consider supporting us at whatever level feels right for you. Or its cousin, any amount you give is meaningful. We're grateful for whatever you can do, or we leave it in your hands. Every version of this language has really the same problem. It puts the burden of the ask on the donor. It says, you decide the number, which sounds respectful, but at the end of the day, it's really not. I mean, bear with me on this. It's actually doing the donor a disservice because when you leave the amount open, most donors are going to default to something comfortable, something close to what they gave the previous year. And that's not where growth and major gifts live. So the specificity of the ask is not just a tactical choice, it's a signal about how much you believe in the donor's capability. So when you ask for a $50,000 gift, you are saying, I believe you can do this. I believe this mission is worth your time and your gift. I believe our relationship is strong enough to hold this conversation. And when you say, oh, whatever feels right, you're saying, I'm not sure if I should ask you. I'm not sure if you can handle this. I'm a little afraid of you right now. And, donors feel the difference. I mean, not always consciously, but please know they feel it. Hey, fundraiser, before you sign up for another fundraising conference where you might leave with a good tote bag but zero strategy to raise more money, let me invite you to Major Gift Momentum. This is my private coaching group where you'll get weekly coaching calls with me, access to my full Major Gift curriculum, and a community that's actually moving the needle. Major Gift Momentum isn't based in theory, it's based in action. Members are closing 5- and 6-figure gifts within 3 months of joining. Heather just closed a $245,000 gift. Jacelyn just closed a $212,000 campaign gift. And Georgette just got a $500,000 commitment. All within 3 months of joining Momentum. Each of these Momentum members didn't think the donor would give that much, but once I taught them my method, they are raising money at a whole new level. So would you like in, fundraiser? If you do, go to heyfundraiser.com/momentum and let's get started. The other part of the ask is quite formulaic, and I call it the ask formula. And in part one, you're really naming the loyalty. So you're acknowledging who this person is to you and your organization. And it's going to sound something like this. Sharon, you have been a part of this community for 6 years. Your giving has made a specific impact possible. I want you to know that your partnership is not something we take for granted. The second part of the formula is stating the opportunity. So you're just going to share what's possible very specifically, like what the gift could do. So something like this, we're at a pivotal point with this new resource center. The building is ready. The staff are hired. We are ready to rock and roll. But what we need is the funding to actually open the doors. And a gift of $50,000 will do exactly that. And then part 3, you're inviting the gift. You're going to be direct, specific, and respectful. And then I always make it a question. A lot of fundraisers make it more of a statement. I prefer a question. So I would say something like, would you consider a gift of $50,000 to make this possible? And then stop. Silence. Like that's the formula. You name the loyalty, you state the opportunity, and you make an invitation. So let me pull it all together so you can hear it in like a complete ask. And I always use the first name. So I would say, Kevin, before I say what I want to say to you today, I really want to just start by thanking you. You have been with us for 6 amazing years. And because of you and your partnership, 340 families have had a safe place to go this winter. That is real, and it matters more than I can even tell you. I really want to share something exciting because we're on the verge of opening our new Family Resource Center. This building is ready. We have hired our first 2 staff members. They are eager to start serving families in our community. And what we need now is the funding to fully launch the program in its first year. I mean, really open the doors to the public. Would you consider a gift of $50,000 to make this happen? That's it. Clean, specific, respectful, personal, and complete. So after you say, would you be willing? to make a $50,000 gift, you just have to stop. You don't want to say, I know this is a big ask. You don't want to say, like, obviously, we're open to whatever works for you. Please don't say, take all the time you need. Like, do not make a joke. Do not smile nervously and start talking about something else. Like, just stop, right? And breathe. Look at them warmly and openly and wait for them to process. And if you need something to do with your brain during the silence, like I kind of do, focus on genuine curiosity. Like, I wonder what they're thinking right now. Like, what is happening in their mind? I mean, I don't assume, don't project, just wait with openness. And just having that has helped me stay silent. So the silence is going to feel long for you. It really isn't. And there's a flurry of activity happening in the donor's brain, so it doesn't feel like an awkward silence to them. And it's much shorter than it usually feels. And then when the donor speaks, you know what to do next. So the words I need to think about it are the most common response to a major gift ask. And I just want you to know, fundraiser, it is not a no. I want to say that very clearly. If somebody says, I need to think about it or not yet, those have a path. And here's what you want to respond to. You say, of course, I completely understand. And I appreciate you taking this seriously. Is there any additional information that you need to help you make a decision? And they're going to say yes or no. And then, would it be okay if I followed up with you next week after you've had some time to really think things through? That's it. So you're really doing three things. You're kind of validating their process, you're offering to help, and then you're securing permission to follow up. That's not pushy. That's not selling. Like, you're being helpful, actually. You're being a partner in their decision-making process. Now, the follow-up within a week is really critical. Like, put it on your calendar the moment you leave the meeting, because, air quotes, I need to think about it without a follow-up is often just a really slow no. So your follow-up is what converts the conversation into a decision. And so when you make that call the next week, you're going to say, hi, Kevin, I wanted to follow up on our conversation. I've been thinking a lot about it too. So is there anything I can help answer for you? Or are you ready to move forward? So you just keep it warm, keep it direct, keep it simple. Now, the other phrase that I've gotten a lot is, that's more than I expected. So this is a more delicate response because it signals a little bit of surprise and sometimes genuine discomfort. But here's what you need to know. That's more than I expected is almost never a no. What it is a negotiation signal. So here's what you want to say. You want to say, I appreciate your honesty, and there's no wrong answer here, but if I may, I want to find the right level. Is it the cause you'd want to support, or is it more about the amount? So what you're doing is you're separating the commitment to the cause from the commitment to the number. Like, those are two very different things, because usually that's more than I expected is about the number, not the cause. But every once in a while, it's really not about the number. And so you kind of have to dig a little bit. And once you know the answer, you have a little room to work. And that's what you need, fundraiser, is negotiation room. So from there, you would say something like, what if we thought about this a little differently? Would a gift of $25,000, perhaps spread over 2 years, feel more comfortable for you? Or you could say, what amount would feel meaningful to you at this stage? Like, you're still asking, you're still specific, but you're also listening. Now, switching gears a little bit, a lot of my private coaching clients and my Major Gift Momentum members, we have a lot of conversations about never apologizing for the ask that you've just made. Like, your original ask was the right amount for this donor and this moment. Now, what you're doing is just adapting based on new information. And that's okay. That's not backing down. It's frankly like being responsive. So I want to say this very plainly. You do not need to apologize for making an ask, ever. Like, you don't need to say, I'm so sorry to ask you for so much. You don't need to say, I know this is uncomfortable. And please don't say, you don't have to say yes. Like, here's why this matters. When you apologize for the ask, you are communicating that the ask is a mistake, that you've asked for too much, that the relationship isn't strong enough to hold this conversation. And the donor hears all of that, like consciously or not. So here's a principle that I come back to quite often. If you don't believe the donor can do it, why are they going to believe that they can do it? Your job in the ask moment is to be the most confident, most caring, most present version of yourself. Like that's it, fundraiser. So the one who genuinely believes that this donor is capable of something extraordinary and that your organization is worthy of their significant investment, that confidence is not arrogance, it's respect. I mean, it really kind of communicates, I take you seriously, I take this mission seriously, and I take this moment seriously. And you never, never, never have to apologize for that. So I want to close with a story from the book, What to Say, because I think it illustrates everything we've talked about today. So Joe and Leonora have been donors at a cancer center for many years. They were mid-level donors. I mean, they were consistent and generous, but they were never asked to give at a major gift level. And sadly, they had lost their son to a disease that this organization that I was working for was working to defeat. And their connection to the mission was as deep as any connection I'd ever seen. But no one had ever pursued them or invited them into a major gift opportunity. So when I finally sat down with them, and I had done, probably 8 months of cultivation, I knew their story. I knew their son's name. I knew what research meant to them, like not abstractly, like personally. And when the moment arrived, I really just looked at them and said, Joe, Leonora, I want to ask you something that I've been waiting and wanting to ask you for a while now. Would you consider a gift of $1 million to name the research pavilion in James's honor? And then silence. I mean, Joe looked at Leonora looked at Joe, and they just had this like quiet moment. I mean, they had, of course, they'd been married like 40 plus years. And it was almost like they were having this telepathic conversation. And after they finished looking at each other, Joe looked at me and said, Mary, nothing would give us more joy. So because the ask, I mean, when it comes from a place of real relationship and real belief, it's not a burden. I mean, it is an invitation, and it is the fulfillment of everything that cultivation was building toward. Would you consider making an ask this week, whatever the number, that honors your donor with the same belief? I think you're ready. So I want to give you a quote from the book. This is a quote that many people quote back to me, which is kind of crazy. But here it is. I'm going to read it to you. It's very Mary-esque. The difference between support us at whatever level feels right and would you consider $100,000 to fund the new hotline is like comparing apples and orangutans. And yes, I said that in the book, and yes, people quote it back to me. But the reason that I said it is because it is like apples and orangutans. Like you have to say a number, you have to say it out loud. You have to follow the framework, and you need all 5 of those things to be able to ask and feel really good about the ask. And you need to trust that the relationship you've built is strong enough to hold that conversation. So if you need the words, if you need help on how to ask for a major gift, I would highly recommend checking out the book, What to Say, 12 Major Gift Asks to Get a Yes. It's available now, and I'll put a link in the show notes. And then a new book comes out, which is called Small Table, Big Philanthropy. So if you go to heyfundraiser.com, first thing in the morning, it is going to launch on April 30th. So get a copy for yourself, get one for your colleague. This is the book I wrote for fundraisers who are ready to stop going through the motions and start building real, meaningful, transformational donor relationships. Okay, fundraiser, thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for the messages and the emails and the reviews. They mean more than you know. I will be back next week with a new podcast. So in the meantime, go make an ask and feel good about it. Fundraiser, thank you for being here. This work you do, it matters. You are the bridge between generosity and impact, and don't let anyone, including the hard weeks, convince you otherwise. If today's episode gave you something useful, please pass it along. One share, one text to a colleague, one review on Apple Podcasts. That's how this show reaches the people who need it most. Come find me at heyfundraiser.com, and I'll see you next Friday.